What's up, guys? This is one of those awesome projects. Again, I get the real difficult, hard to do projects. This is a beautiful 1970s Les Paul Deluxe Brazilian rosewood fretboard, clownburst, Norland era, a little bit of dust. The most beautiful patina I've ever seen on a guitar, but a pancake body that's separating. And I've actually never seen this. So what we need to do is take this apart today, figure out what's going on with it, and pull this apart and then glue it back together. You can't just shove in glue and glue it. If the glue is contaminated and it's sealed, what's going to happen is you're going to take two pieces of glue, put more glue in the middle, and it doesn't stick. So what we're probably going to end up doing is peeling this apart with a little bit of steam, a little bit of tools, and then sanding this on the sander and putting a piece of veneer down and then regluing it so we get that right thickness. That's the thought process. This guitar is from Hawaii, original owner still, and salt has really beaten it up in terms of corrosion. So what we'll do today is take everything off and begin to play. We're going to score a line on the back of the neck here so we can pop this off. I don't want to take the neck off. I just want to be able to score this line and then use some steam and pop the back off without having to take the neck off the front. This is a fretless wonder. Probably could use a fret up, but I don't want to do that. Really just want to get the body glued back together properly. Never know once you start taking these apart, hoping we don't have to do that. The thought process is to clamp this together, drill a couple of holes here and here to align this back up, get it all fresh, clamp it down and run with it. We'll see how that goes. We'll get this apart. I swear this is the most beautiful patina on a guitar I have ever seen. We're going to end up taping a lot of this off when we go with the steam because we don't want the steam to ruin the lacquer. So that's something I got to keep in my head. But awesome 1970s Les Paul Deluxe Brazilian rosewood fretboard. Just beautiful guitar. So I don't think these are original. I think they've been replaced, obviously. We'll see what's in there. I think these are DiMarzio, looks like Super Distortion, real popular at that time frame. So take this apart and come back. All right, so we'll take the guitar apart here. And as I begin to take it apart, this guitar has all sorts of gunk caked on here. And then as I take the pickups out, you can see how these were made to hold humbuckers, which is pretty hilarious. Owners always do kind of different things than what a luthier would do or what their buddies who works on guitars would do. So we take apart all of the electronics, get it all clean and ready. And then what we do is we take a razor blade to score the joints so that way it breaks the seal of the lacquer. So this helps just kind of get everything apart. So we heated up that knife for a second and we're just going to break the joint and we'll run that across the bottom here as well, that neck joint. Really want to make sure that we don't have a whoopsie when we're pulling this guitar apart. So what we begin to do is we slowly pull apart the guitar body. We've got that X-Acto knife and we're just kind of separating the body. The glue really failed and you'll see that here in a second, but the body really was sort of loose. We get a couple shims in here just to let it work out. I didn't want to take steam to this because I thought it would ruin the patina. But we just go through here and you see I take the razor blade and just pull it through that section as well. So we got a chisel in and I'll show you it right here. Yeah, I know. too fast. So here is the plate. There's like a veneer and the glue, and you can see it all just failed. There's a little piece sitting there on the side. I didn't score it all around, but if I had, it probably would have just popped off. So we'll glue that first. A little wood glue, and get it all set to go back on. So we got a backing board and a couple clamps. Just squeeze it through. No chips were missing, but it did pop. You could see the glue there on the bottom. So just clamp it and let it sit. Clean off that spot. And then begin cleaning off the old glue. We got a razor blade here. And originally what I thought I was going to do was sand one side, put a piece of wood in there, and re-glue it. But I didn't really feel comfortable doing that. I didn't want to lose the thickness of the body. So here I'm wiping down with some water and just cleaning this up. So it's a razor blade to kind of scrape it. And it's really pulling off all the old glue. We wash it with some naphtha here and clean it up. So then we need a little bit more gluing surface, and what we're going to do is we're just going to score the body with a razor blade. So we're going in, I don't know, like a 16th. And by doing this, we're just creating an additional gluing surface to make sure the glue sits. It gets a little bit deeper into the pores outside of what was sealed. So we'll do this on the piece with the neck. And we'll do this with the piece that is on the back side. So we'll do that here as well. You're just creating a lot of additional gluing surface. And we're going to take some blue tape so we don't have the glue dripping all up and down the body. Don't need a mess. And then we're just going to use some wood glue here. Type on wood glue. Get it on there. Get a card, spread it out. Old credit cards work well for this. A little bit too much glue. We'll pull some of this off and put it on the other side. Some guys want you to put glue on both sides. Some don't. I don't know. I like just feeling the consistency of the glue on one side. Plop it on. Clamp it so that it stays parallel or whatever. The body kind of stays in the same spot. Once I added the glue, the body swelled just a little bit. That always happens. But what we're going to do is clamp this up as best as we can. And literally you can never have enough clamps. So we put some tape on the inside of the cavity there so it doesn't run down on the back side. And then I've got enough clamps here to clamp the whole top, and I've got pads on the clamps so that I'm not going to mar the top. So there are the pads. This just compresses it all. So I think we probably got about 30 to 40 clamps on here. There you go. Clamp heaven. We let this dry for 72 hours. We don't want it to move. Pull all the clamps off. Start taking the tape off. And then what we're going to do is scrape. Tape is stuck in a couple spots. But we got some sandpaper here, razor blade. We'll just go ahead and clean this up. X-Acto knife is the tool of choice on this project. So then we get the StewMac lacquer pens, and we really have to fill a decent amount of gaps. So when it popped apart, even with the scoring, there are chips missing everywhere. So we've got to really level. So sand, fill, level, sand, fill, level, sand, fill, level. That's a lot of the back and forth on this project. That corner is tricky. And just a whole bunch of work to get this right. I think I did this more than 10 times, to be honest. I think I did this like 70 times. I even built a special rig here to hold the guitar up on the backside so I could fill the lacquer on the bottom of the guitar. So you can see I clamp it in and then just fill it. Then we're going to tape the body and get ready to spray. This is crucial. You don't want the red floating around on the binding, and you just want to kind of touch up the spots that need to be touched up. We got some Stu Mac Cherry Red Tinted Nitro. What we're going to do is we're going to spray here, 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 and here. We'll do about 4 or 5 coats. We had a lacquer chip off there that I really don't like, that we had to fill with clear lacquer, clear aged lacquer, and I guess probably used a little bit too much, and it's a little bit too dark, so I'm hoping that this cherry red covers that up slightly. That's probably the one whoops that I don't like from this. So shake up the can. We're just gonna do kind of like chit chit, chit chit, chit chit, just real light coats. Alright, this is the clear coat. Just going to put a couple coats on. I'm pretty much done. It's about the 4th coat. So after we put that cherry red on, we come back with a couple of clear coats to seal it, pull off the tape, pull the tape off the body, and then level it down, level sand it down so that way we don't have a ledge. So this is 320 and 600 grit. Just sand it so it gets a little bit more level. And then here we're going to do a bunch of clear gloss coats. You see how I'm going over the binding, I'm going over the neck. This is the clean and final coat. We put about 6 or 8 of these coats on, and then we let it dry for about 3 weeks. And when you let it dry for 3 weeks, you can come back with some super acylics dry sanding paper. This is my preferred sanding paper of choice now. It does not require water, which causes all sorts of problems. There's a little bit of orange peel after the first sanding coat at 600. You work your way up to 2000, and then when you get 2000 done, it's ready to buff. As I was talking with a couple friends, they were concerned that maybe this could separate again, so let's add a couple dowels for strength, just so you got some additional gluing surface. So we did that at the end. Probably could have done that before I sealed it, but just careful cleaning these up and getting these nice and flat, but this just allows to have no mistakes. So we got those dowels trimmed and flush, and then we're going to come and buff. This is my homemade buffing machine in the basement. Got some fine grit, and we'll just go ahead back and forth and buff. Don't want to burn the sides. Really, we're doing like a dirty buff. The top is all still scratched up, but we're going to let some of the scratch marks just show on this. So that is complete. A lot of waiting because we need to let the finish dry and let the glue dry. What's going on, guys? Taking care of my mom. She actually fell, so we're finishing this video in my parents' basement. If you remember a couple years ago when we were moving back from Nashville, I was down here doing some work, but this is the Les Paul Deluxe completed, all set, all repaired, finished. We had to wait for the finish to dry. Real tricky project. This guitar is from Hawaii, and the glue failed, and we got it all put back together, buffed, finished, and it's looking really good. It's definitely not perfect. When the body went back together, the glue expanded it a little bit, and so there's a little bit of a lip right here. Interesting project. I've never seen a pancake body fail. So this is the Les Paul Deluxe 1978. It was interesting. We actually have the receipt from Honolulu, Hawaii. It's wild. $199. $199. What a deal. First sold April 3rd, 1978. That's wild. If you look at inflation, this guitar today would cost $1,000. So Gibson has definitely raised their prices. The pickups were replaced, and it was interesting digging through the cavity. You could see how they were sort of rigged together. Interesting concept. Nice aging. This guitar should work. We ended up putting additional plugs in here to keep the body together. We'll see if that works. We'll give you a sound clip here. So fun project, took a little bit longer than I thought. I really want to make sure that this all dried. So this will get shipped back out to Hawaii. Won't be cheap. Be curious to see how this ages in Hawaii. This piece right here, once we glued this back on, we used that pen. And I don't know if I like the StewMac pen clear. I think they should have just a regular lacquer one so you can fill in these chips. But fun project, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.